Hello, my name is Pelágia Pais. I'm an intuitive artist and a self-empowerment coach. I painted the artwork on the cover of Derek's first poetry book, Everything Rhymes with Orange. And I'm here today to have a conversation with Derek about this book. Gloucestershire-based artist and writer Derek Dohren has been variously described as quirky and surreal, as a shark basking in a sea of words, and as a poet who enjoys rooting out affectation and pomposity. He can also be described more prosaically as a bus driver, the latest profession from which he currently draws artistic inspiration. His first poetry collection, Everything Rhymes with Orange, was recently published by Black Eyes Publishing UK.
What a great introduction.
I think so. You wrote it.
Shh.
Thank you so much for embracing the idea of recording this conversation. I know that I had a few questions to ask. I was curious about some of the poems and the process about writing a book, so I'm glad that you were open to this idea.
No, I'm very curious to hear your questions. I'm a little bit nervous as well, but
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
Okay.
I hope it'll be fun.
Right, so we'll start straight out.
Mm-hmm.
The first question I wanted to ask you is when did you first start writing poetry?
I think I've always enjoyed writing since I was a kid. I had a couple of really good English teachers when I was going through school who were very encouraging. As far as poetry goes, I think when I was a teenager, maybe all teenagers go through that phase where they write terrible poetry. So I definitely remember writing stuff when I was kind of 15, 16. And I imagine them as songs. And I still think of my poems today as songs, really. That's why a lot of them have kind of repeating choruses.
Okay.
But I'm really glad that that was in the sort of pre-internet era, and there are no recordings of anything I wrote back then. But yeah, I've always enjoyed writing. Yeah.
Okay. And one of the biggest questions, one thing is to write poetry, and a lot of people write poetry in different styles, but you've chosen performance poetry. So tell me a bit about why do you feel attracted to it?
It's something that's come as a bit of a surprise to me, really. It's only in the last 2 years that I've become a performance poet. I was living in Spain for 8 years, from 2010 to 2017. And I was working as an English teacher, and before that I'd worked in IT. I just had a desk job basically, and I was hopeless with speaking in public, doing presentations, that type of thing. But working as a teacher kind of brought me out of myself quite a lot. And when I decided to come back to the UK, I was looking at the area I was going to settle in. I was looking around on the internet to see what was going on in the kind of arts world, and I saw that performance poetry seemed to be a thing, and it just struck me. I just thought, wow, yeah, this is something I want to do. It came out of the blue, really, and it surprised me as much as anyone else. And I just thought, yeah, I want to have a go with this.
Wow, that's very brave.
Yeah, it sort of was, but it's one of those things. I think when I was in Spain, I did change my outlook on life a lot, and it's definitely something I wouldn't have done earlier. I would have been terrified to do it. In fact, the first time I performed, the very first time I went with the intention of performing, it was during the Gloucester Poetry Festival. I bottled out. I ducked out when they were going around asking for names for the open mic. I had a couple of poems in my pocket, and I just thought, no, I just can't do it. And I went home, and I was furious with myself. And there was another event a couple of nights later, and I thought, come on, you've got to do it. And I asked my daughter to come along, and I told her, don't let me run out without getting up on that stage. And yeah, it was a nerve-wracking thing to actually go up to the mic, but it's just like you know, taking a plunge. It's that metaphor of just diving in, and it's uncomfortable for a few seconds, and then it was like, yeah, I can do this. I like it. I wasn't very good. I was terrible first time. But
Okay. Has it become easier, or do you really enjoy it? Why have you continued to do it? What keeps you going back?
It's such a buzz. You know, the first time I got up, I was very nervous, and you imagine that you're terrible and no one's going to be interested, but people listen to what you've got to say, and it just felt good to speak the words that you'd written, you know, and I watched other people, and to me they were way ahead of me, people who'd probably been doing it for a long time. And I was just mesmerised by the whole thing, the atmosphere. You could see what was possible. You could see how people were delivering in their own style. I just got swept up in the whole thing, really.
But what I was asking just now was also, how has it become easier for you to step up, or what other challenges, as you started doing it more? Are there different challenges?
Yeah, because you're always trying to push yourself to be better, so you're never entirely satisfied. And now that I must have done over 100 gigs now, and obviously I've repeated a lot of the same poems. You know, we're human, we're not robots, so you can deliver one poem brilliantly one night. You could do the same poem 2 nights later, and it's completely different. You don't deliver it as well, or the audience is a different audience. The mood and the atmosphere is different. So you start to have different. You learn different things, and you learn more about what can go right and what can go wrong. The first time, you know, first few times, you just want to get up, get the poem done as quickly as possible, and then sit down, and you think that was great, but also terrifying. As you get more experience, you know, you learn more subtleties, and I think I still get nervous, especially if I haven't been up to the mic for 2 or 3 weeks. I get nervous, but it's kind of a nervous anticipation rather than a fear.
Okay.
So yeah, it got easier, but I'm kind of more demanding of myself as well.
Okay.
Yeah.